Hi everyone and welcome to this webinar session hosted by TELUS Business. My name is Christine Lambert and I'm the Marketing Manager of the Seniors Living portfolio here at TELUS. We're really proud to be returning as a premier sponsor of this year's virtual BCCPA trade show and to continue to support the evolving ecosystem of seniors living communities in BC. At TELUS, our motivation is to improve people's lives through the power of technology. That's why we recently launched our new Mobility for Good for Seniors program, which offers low-income seniors access to a low-cost mobility plan. During COVID, we also found many new innovative ways to help you reduce social isolation during these difficult times, but also help you connect with your residents safely. Via our local camera mobile application, you can now broadcast live events such as bingo games, exercise classes, music concerts, and much more right on your residents' in-suite TVs. You can learn more about this during one of our Lunch and Learn product demo that we will be hosting. In this session, we hope that you learn about the importance of a well-designed, scalable, and secure Wi-Fi network, industry Wi-Fi best practices, and the benefits of having a property-wide Wi-Fi network with an at-home experience for your residents. We hope that you enjoyed this session and we can't wait to see you again in person. Cody, over to you.
Thanks so much, Christine. Hi, everyone. My name is Cody Morash, and I lead our multi-suite product and marketing team. I started at TELUS 13 years ago and have had the pleasure of being involved with our seniors living market since we made our first foray into this space. TELUS has invested heavily into the seniors living space over the past 6 years, and we've encountered numerous challenges with which we've overcome. When we first came into this space, we thought that it would be very similar to hospitality, that seniors living were essentially like hotels, but longer term. And we almost immediately learned how wrong we were. We've taken those learnings and we've worked very closely with a number of partners in this space to collaborate on evolving our product, service offerings, and supports for residents to really, truly meet the needs that are so unique to this space. Some of our key innovations that have come from this collaboration include our seniors remote, interactive and customizable TV menu, our local camera, and our ambassador program. I'm joined here today by John Pickersgill and Derek Landon. John, please tell us a bit about yourself.
Thanks, Cody. My name is John Pickersgill, and I lead the multi-suite business here at TELUS. Very excited to join you here today. 15 years with the organization, and I'll pass it over to Derek for a brief intro.
Thanks, John. My name is Derek Landon. I'm a Senior Service Development Manager here at TELUS, focusing on new innovative tech within the seniors living vertical. I started my career with TELUS a little over 10 years ago as a technician, installing TV and Wi-Fi services across our multi-suite verticals, of which seniors living is one of the largest. I'm very excited to join the team here today to discuss the more technical aspects of a managed Wi-Fi deployment. Cody, back to you.
Thanks so much, guys. Since the early 90s, there has been a constant evolution of network connectivity. Starting with dial-up, we then saw the introduction of ever faster speeds. Mobile devices even had rudimentary web browsing capabilities as early as 1996. Today, we see gigabit speeds available to consumer users over both wired and wireless connections. John, this first question is for you. In your view, what are the driving forces for the adoption of a managed Wi-Fi solution in seniors living?
Thanks, Cody. The most significant factor, without question, would be the pandemic and the need for physical distancing that it's introduced. With this, we've seen a massive uptick in the use of things like video conferencing, virtual health, and streaming services within the seniors living environment. This in turn has put a lot of pressure on operators like yourselves to implement more robust networks to handle that traffic and to really think through the resident and end user experience for those services within the property. The second big factor is really the residents themselves. Without question, residents have a very different relationship with digital technologies today than ever before. There's a higher level of comfort and familiarity with digital technologies. As an example, most residents have a Facebook account. They are conducting their banking online. They are shopping online. And so with this comes a really elevated expectation for the performance of the network and again, the ease of use of that network. Your residents are seeking a hotel-like experience from day one, where everything works together seamlessly within the unit. From the perspective of the operator, there are a number of key trends and driving forces that are coming together to really drive adoption of managed Wi-Fi. First and foremost is the need to manage cost and to streamline operations. No longer can we have back office IT support teams fielding high call volumes to support residents at the property. We need solutions that are self-serve, zero touch, and again, very easy for the resident to use. The second factor is around managing risk. Managing risk to the property is being done by things like leak detection, energy management with proactive notifications when HVAC equipment needs servicing or support. These technologies are enabled by robust, scalable connectivity within the property. And then the third factor for the operator that we're seeing in the Canadian marketplace is really a need to differentiate the resident experience. Increasingly, in a crowded market, operators are looking for ways to revitalize their value propositions and to really create an experience that residents want to move into rather than need to. And one of the key ways to do that is by ensuring that all of these digital services and experiences work from day one without the need to contact a service provider, schedule an installation, and contract for services independently. And as a closing comment on this, Cody, I would say the need for independence and autonomy, or rather the trend towards maintaining independence longer, is really a big factor for improved technology. Increasingly, we know that seniors want to take ownership and accountability for their health outcomes. They want to be informed and engaged and in control of their health. And one of the best ways to do this is through things like virtual health, electronic medical records, wearables, and again, all of these are facilitated and enabled by robust, scalable, managed connectivity at the property.
Thanks, John. I heard a couple of themes there, one around human connection for the residents, as well as around differentiation. Derek, with all of that in mind, what are the considerations that need to be taken into account when designing, implementing, and supporting a Wi-Fi network that will support the human connection and offer a best-in-class resident experience?
Yeah, great question, Cody. So as you mentioned earlier, one of the things that we learned very early on is that not all multi-suite customers are the same. Hospitality customers and work camp operators have different needs than seniors living providers, and their buildings are normally constructed quite differently. In order to successfully design a great network, user requirements need to be considered alongside the nuances of the building. Construction material, size, age, furniture, etc., all impact the way that a signal would propagate through the space. The best way to account for all of these variables is to have a trained, certified technician perform an on-site survey. During the survey, the technician will place a live access point at various spots throughout the building and take measurements on how the Wi-Fi signal reacts to that environment. This enables us to build a very accurate map of where the access points need to be placed in order to provide the best experience for your staff and residents. Any potential dead spots are identified immediately, and the layout can be tweaked to eliminate them. Once the physical design is complete, we shift our focus to the implementation and configuration of the network. Professional certified installers ensure that the design is followed. Network security is configured, wired connections are supplied where required, and the Wi-Fi network names are set up and optimized. Splash and landing pages that load as soon as the device joins the network are set up, configured, and secured according to the business needs. The most important step to a successful implementation is the post-survey, though. This is very similar to what we did during the design phase, but instead of measuring a test device, the real-world access points and locations are used. A technician will walk the building and, using the same specialized equipment, validate that the network is performing the way that it was designed. The survey is reviewed with the provider to ensure that all of the requirements have been met. The last consideration is how we support the business customers and their residents after the deployment. So ongoing management, proactive repair, and maintenance are all things to look for in a Wi-Fi solution. These networks, just like your computer or your phone, require regular updates to ensure security and stability over their lifespan. These updates should be well tested and vetted before they're actually deployed into a building. Monitoring the ongoing health of the network is key to maintaining that consistent user and staff experience. And unfortunately, access points can go down sometimes, no matter how much we try to prevent it. But when they do, the network should alert your provider and your on-site staff to ensure that the issue can be corrected immediately before it negatively impacts the resident and staff experience. Finally, when all else fails, you need to talk to someone. Look for a provider that can provide you with a single point of contact for both your staff and your residents.
Thanks, Derek. That's an excellent overview of how to make a transition to a managed Wi-Fi network, which also then brings to mind a key point around assisting new residents with the transition to community living. John, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how a managed property-wide Wi-Fi solution can support this type of transition as well, with that at-home experience for residents.
You bet. It's a critical point, Cody, making sure residents are comfortable and have a high level of ease of use for any new technology that we roll out. So there's a couple of principles that we look at, and it really comes back to a technology we refer to as personal area network, or PAN. The first point is around accessibility and ensuring that residents have a very low effort, streamlined way to provision access to the network. The principle here is that the network just works. From day one, residents have a warm home experience. They don't need to contact a service provider, schedule an installation, and set up an account. They have access to the network, again, from that first day at the property. And this is enabled through things like QR codes, self-serve portals. We've spent a lot of time looking at that user experience and ensuring that it's very low effort, very simple and straightforward. The second piece is around familiarity. And familiarity comes down to things like ensuring that all of residents' favorite channels are available with the TV solution, their streaming services, whatever they're used to at home, they get that and more at your property. At the end of the day, it's about really creating an experience that draws the resident in and is superior to what they might expect at home or on the go. One of the key ways we do that is through enabling social connection and ensuring that residents can, in some cases, use family members or reach out to family members if they require support in enrolling and getting access to the network. So we've got a lot of creative solutions to pull the family member into the equation and make sure that the resident has a fantastic experience. I talked a little bit earlier about personal area network. I'll elaborate on that point. I think it's a key one. In a nutshell, personal area network enables devices within the unit to communicate directly to each other using the Wi-Fi network. This is really important for enabling things like printing and streaming. It also takes out a lot of the effort and workload for your IT support team out of the equation. It makes reduces the volume of inbound service calls to your teams, helping to manage the operating costs of the network. In a nutshell, as Cody mentioned at the top of the call, TELUS has extensive experience in this area, and we've really thought through a lot of the elements of resident onboarding and use of the service to make it an outstanding experience.
Thanks, John. Derek, over to you now, if you can, to tell us a little bit about the benefits from a business perspective. Well, what does that build on top of all of these great benefits that John was telling us about for the residents?
Yeah, so as John outlined, I mean, the benefits to the residents are clear. But what's equally important are the benefits to your business and your staff. Everyone watching this has had their work life change due to COVID. Most companies rely heavily on video conferencing to facilitate conversations and meetings that used to take place face to face. The seniors living and really the health sector in general are faced with additional challenges, though. You didn't have the option to close your doors as you're charged with the care of our most vulnerable population. Ubiquitous Wi-Fi has quickly moved from being a nice to have to a must have within your properties. The ability for the staff to connect once and move around the property quickly while seamlessly roaming across multiple access points reduces their technology frustration and ensures those voice and video calls stays connected. Choosing to go with a fully managed Wi-Fi solution that includes staff and resident support also frees up your IT staff to focus on the bigger tech issues that may pop up, while reducing the operational expense of handling the day-to-day resident IT concerns. By selecting a property-wide enterprise-grade Wi-Fi network, you're installing a solution that uses superior hardware to ensure the network can scale in the future. The question we hear quite often is, why would I choose to provide Wi-Fi and TV services to my resident instead of just letting them order directly from a provider? Ultimately, this comes down to the model you want to provide in your property, but by opting for a bulk solution, you can typically secure a 30 to 50% savings over individual resident connections. The installation of these services are also done all at once. Multiple technician visits from different companies are eliminated, limiting the number of outside people within your property. It also allows you to run educational and rec programs across your property with the peace of mind to know that all of your residents have access to them instead of needing to keep track of who has what service. Overall, it might seem more involved and honestly daunting to undertake a rollout like this, but in the end, you'll end up with a more robust, flexible network that will allow you to keep pace with the changing technology trends for years to come. Selecting the right partner to help you navigate the process is the best place to start. Back to you, Cody.
Thanks, Derek. The immediate benefits to both the residents and the staff and operators are quite astounding. And that brings up a question around how to integrate the networks for staff and residents. What considerations are there around multiple user groups accessing a single network? And how do you ensure security and privacy for all users?
Fantastic question. We get this all the time. There are really two approaches to this, either physical or logical separation of the network. Physical separation means having two completely different Wi-Fi networks for your corporate and resident access. This is obviously super secure, but very costly, and honestly can negatively impact the performance of your overall network. While we need enough access points to provide the coverage required for your property, having too many can cause interference issues. The solution for this is a logically separate network. Basically, what this means is setting up network security to restrict access between the resident and corporate networks. This is very similar to how you would connect to the internet at home. When your data leaves your home, it's combined with all of the other data for your neighborhood, your city, your province, and it's delivered where it needs to go in the world. The logical separation in your internet provider's network is what keeps your data secure as it versus the network. In your building, what this would look like is a single network broadcasting multiple network names. Your staff would connect to one SSID or network name, and your residents would connect to another. Taking that a step further, John mentioned PAN earlier. The idea behind PAN is to take this logical separation a step further to restrict access to devices between rooms, meaning that Miss Jones in room 120 can't inadvertently print to the printer in room 130. Mrs. Jones can still interact with all of the other devices within Unit 120. So if she has a voice assistant, a Google and Alexa, that type of thing, she's free to use that as if she was at home. But Mr. Smith in room 130 can't connect to those devices. There is a logical separation within the network to prevent these units from talking to each other on the network, unless that is desired.
So network security is included by design. But with so many scammers targeting unsuspecting internet users these days, John, what advice do you have for operators who want to support their residents in learning how to navigate the online world safely?
Thanks, Cody. It's a great question, and it's one that we get quite often. The good news is that TELUS is here to help. with TELUS Wise, a no-charge digital literacy program that offers informative workshops and resources to help Canadians of all ages get a positive experience online. These free of charge workshops engage your residents in discussions around how to participate in our growing digital society in a safe way. Some of the key topics that are covered in these sessions include smartphone use, social networking, as well as privacy settings, identity theft, and fraud. There are added self-serve, self-learning modules on online dating and social gaming. These courses are ideally suited for those who are already actively online, sending email, surfing the web, and using social media. The great news is that this content is endorsed by the Canadian Association of Police Chiefs, and TELUS has reached more than 200,000 Canadians with the TELUS Wise program since inception. For more information on this program, you can surf to telus.com/wise. That's telus.com/WISE.
Thanks, John. Before we close for today, though, I would like to touch a little bit on what we can expect for the future of our connected communities. John, can you share your thoughts on what technologies we will see becoming ubiquitous in the next 3 to 5 years?
Absolutely, Cody. It's a pretty exciting time in the seniors living space. We are seeing kind of the early green shoots of adoption of a number of exciting technologies that will drive benefits for both residents and operators. Telehealth and virtual care has become one of the most obvious capabilities that delivers great promise for empowering residents to really own and drive their own health outcomes. We see continued adoption of virtual care solutions as a major trend, I'd say in the short term and the near term. We also see within the suite for the resident adoption of smart technologies, from voice controls to smart thermostats, smart lighting, and other technologies that automate the in-suite experience. These technologies have a dual benefit for the resident, giving them that smart home capability and experience, but also providing the operator with the opportunity to do things like remove physical keys from the environment, and to have a centralized energy management solution that can reduce energy consumption and costs. On the health front, electronic medical records are increasingly becoming integrated with things like virtual care, which further extends the care continuum and reduces the need for residents to leave their home to access care and to access their own medical records. The other big area that's quite interesting for us is on the entertainment front. Not only are we giving residents access to more and new entertainment sources, all of their favorite streaming applications, but we've introduced things like local camera, which enables you as an operator to become a micro broadcaster, sharing social and recreational events from your properties with residents, driving a deeper level of engagement and interaction between residents on a one-to-one basis and with the property itself. So as mentioned, a really exciting time for new technology in the seniors living space, with a lot of innovation happening right here in the Canadian marketplace.
That's all so very exciting. Derek, I know you're also passionate about where technology can drive innovations in care. With that said, if there was one thing you could change, what would it be? What do you wish for the future post-pandemic state for the seniors living industry?
Yeah, so one thing that stands out to me that isn't something new within the industry, but I think really came into the spotlight during COVID, is the social isolation that a lot of our seniors population lives with. A lot of what I've worked on with TELUS over the years has been centered around reducing that feeling of isolation. As John and Cody previously mentioned, from our local cam service that allows properties to broadcast live video right into a resident suite, to the customizable menu that allows the property to communicate daily updates to the residents, we're very aware of the importance of that human connection. What I'd like to see come out of the pandemic is really a focus on reducing this isolation. We have the technology available to us to easily connect seniors virtually with their family around the globe. We can use technology in fun and innovative ways to drive mental stimulation to reduce or slow the progression of dementia. TELUS has actually already been experimenting using robotics to safely connect our agents with residents during deployments. And it might seem like it's straight out of the Jetsons, but voice assistants, robotic pets, robotic companions, virtual reality systems, all these technologies are possible today and could really help out within the seniors living space. But the foundation for all of these cool features and future vision is based on a solid, reliable, scalable Wi-Fi network. If anyone wants to discuss how technology can help bring their vision of the future to life, please feel free to stop by the booth and have a chat with myself or one of my teammates.
John, Derek, thank you both so much for your time today. And to the BCCPA members who have tuned into this discussion, thank you as well. We are passionate about continuing to evolve our solutions to continue to meet the changing needs of the seniors living market. And we encourage you to stop by the TELUS Business booth to learn more about our next generation of seniors living solutions. As well, if you have any questions at all, you can reach us at seniorsLiving@telus.com. Thank you so much.
Special thank you to John, Derek, and Cody for joining us. We hope that you found this session valuable. If there's one thing that I learned today is that there's a growing focus on accelerating your digital transformation journey due to COVID, and combined with an aging baby boomer population, there's no better time than now to start focusing on the importance of a well thought through Wi-Fi network that can support your evolving technology ecosystem for years to come. Like they said, we encourage you to come stop by our booth to learn more about our new seniors living solutions, including guest TV, managed Wi-Fi, and smart building care management. We're also going to be hosting lunch and learn product demos where we will cover innovative ways to engage with isolated residents and leveraging robotics for resident technology training. We hope to see you there as well. Here's a sneak peek of what you can expect during those sessions. Have a great rest of your day, and we can't wait to see you again in person. Stay safe, everybody.